welcome to the Barbershop Show. I'm your host, Matt Horner, with my wingman co-anchor.
I guess.
I like that. I like Anchorman. Dun, dun, dun.
Anchorman.
Keith Wilson.
Hey, man.
Man, how's your week been going?
It's great.
Yeah.
You?
Well, it's been a good week. I've been moving again. That's the story of my life. We're the gypsies the last 2 years, it feels like.
Yeah. Getting all those boxes unpacked?
Getting those boxes unpacked. But anyway, wanted to get back to our show's topic today.
Okay.
And the topic is follow your passion. It will lead you to success, greatness, blah, 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 etc. You'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and the reason why this is kind of mind-blowing, I watched a Prager University video, and I saw Mike Rowe suggest, don't follow your passion. It'll lead you to bad things.
Oh.
But take your passion with you is what he said at the end.
Micro's cool.
Yeah, I like him. He's a cool guy. You know, if I could kind of pick a guy to be like,
It'd be Micro.
everything, you know, because he's handsome. I said it, but
It's like Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Or MacGyver.
He's cool. Got the voice.
Yes.
Does manly things.
He does. Yeah.
I love his show.
So he was saying don't follow your passion.
Yeah, he has this whole thing on YouTube, on Prager University, about how people follow their passion. They've been told that advice from teachers and actors and movie people who say, follow your passions and everything works out and this and that. And and then come to find out, next thing you know, you took a course in underwater basket weaving, you graduated, and you realized there's no need for underwater basket weavers. And so you end up thinking, well, what am I to do? I guess I'll get a master's.
Right.
So you go get a
Continue
master.
education.
Yeah, you go get a master's degree thinking, well, maybe I just need more education and somebody will pick up my great basket weaving skills. And you go to more stuff and then only to find out you're still flipping burgers at the McDonald's.
Yeah, or living in your parents' basement.
Yeah, but then there's this guy who started flipping burgers at McDonald's and said, you know what, I think I'll apply for this McDonald's or Burger University. What do they call their university?
Oh, boy. I don't remember.
Know. They have some type of management school.
Yeah.
And then he works his way up to the ranks.
I think it's Hamburger University. I think that's right.
Something like that. And the next thing you know, he's taking his stock options and buying himself a McDonald's, and he owns one, and he's a millionaire.
Yeah.
Did he follow his passion?
I mean,
I've actually built cabinets for a guy who that was his story.
Really?
Yeah, his story. The guy in Eastland who owns the McDonald's. He literally started flipping burgers in California, and ended up owning the McDonald's here in Eastland.
Wow!
Because the management gets stock options,
sure,
and all this stuff.
The higher you climb, the more invested you become.
Yeah.
There is something to be said about finding a job that you can, I don't know if tolerate's the right word, or at least perform, and doing the job, bringing in the money, and sticking with it.
Yeah, and there's something to be said, like Mike Rowe said on I don't know if I say this, on Prager University, he says at the very end, don't be passionate, but take your passion with you.
Mm-hmm.
And a franchise, and we've talked about them over and over again, I feel like we're beating a dead horse, but it's Chick-fil-A. They are passionate about giving good customer service, good quality, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the best.
Especially when you compare
them
them to other fast food.
I'm a huge Chick-fil-A fan.
And so when you compare them to other fast food, you see what taking your passion looks like with you.
Absolutely. And I think the world needs passionate people in what we would consider regular mundane jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see these guys that are, you know, they're making pizzas, but they're flipping the pizzas up in the air. They're catching them behind their back. Your job is to make pizzas. Yeah. That's not the most exciting job in the world, but you're passionate about what you do. Mm-hmm. So you make pizza flipping awesome.
Yeah. I mean, like an art.
Yeah. There's a book I read called The Fred Factor by Mark Sanborn, and it's about Fred, who's an amazing mail carrier. And he cares about every person that he hands mail to. He goes above and beyond his duties as a mail carrier, and everyone loves him. And he makes a difference in the lives of people around him all the time, and he simply delivers mail.
Yeah. And so he's passionate about his job. He's taking his passion with him.
Yes.
But his passion wasn't carrying the mail, probably.
I can't imagine that that's what he started out thinking. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life.
There's a few weird ducks out there, but yeah.
But my wife's grandfather retired from the post office, you know. And it's difficult because in today's it seems like in today's market, it's all about get the career of your dreams.
Yeah.
You know, find out what you're passionate about, get that job. But a lot of people in the older days they just did a job and they just did it for a long time and they stuck with it and they retired from it.
Yeah, that's
and
my
they
dad.
lived fulfilling lives.
My dad is a factory worker of 30-something years.
Mm-hmm.
I think 37 years. He
It's a
took a
long
job at the same factory and provided for his family. But he was passionate in church.
Yeah.
And
Or being a dad.
I'm being a dad.
You always talk about your dad taking you out, the Boy Scouts this, or doing manly stuff out there. You know, your whole life doesn't have to be centered on your career. 8 to 5.
Yeah, 8 to 5.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah. But I feel like our culture and even our public school education is like trying to teach that your passion should be your career.
And it's not. I mean, it's not
maybe
the
it's
worst
just
thing if you have your. You know, suppose you were meant to swim with dolphins and train dolphins. I mean, that's not a bad thing, but not everybody's gonna. You know, we all wanted to be. When I was growing up, it was the marine biologist. That was the big deal.
Yeah.
You know, working with dolphins.
Yeah, too much
who wouldn't
SeaWorld.
want to work at SeaWorld?
Until Shamu took a bite of you, threw you like a beach ball. Have you seen that? I love those videos. Like, yeah, that's what they call it, a killer whale.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. There's been. Have you ever watched this? This is sidetracking, but the killer whale documentary. Why they took Shamu and all that stuff out.
I have heard that killer whales only kill people when they're in captivity.
Yeah.
They've never killed anybody out in the wild.
Yeah. Anyway,
who knows?
There were some cool videos. I shouldn't say it that way, but there are some videos of powerful things a whale can do to a human.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So that day I met that person who said, I shouldn't have been a marine biologist.
You talking about the one where the whale comes up and the guy's in his fishing boat?
Oh gosh.
And the whale wasn't even, it was just going after some fish or whatever. And it just happens to get, talk about wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. God's got your number when he's got your number.
Yeah, I tell you what, if it's your time to go, it's your time to go. But that guy survived anyway, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Jonah did.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
And there's another guy. You know, he wasn't passionate about, preaching to Nineveh.
No.
He tried to run from that.
Yeah.
And even at the end, after preaching, he
got bitter about it.
Yeah. He's whiny.
Yeah. I swear his last name was Wilson.
Dirtbag. You know nothing about me.
No. You're dead to me.
Yeah. So
probably because his buddy Matt was next to him saying, I told you we should have come.
It's a horrible idea.
Horrible idea.
We're here.
That plant wilted. Gosh, I told you to water it. Don't pee on it.
I think the Bible is full of examples of times that people were called to do things they weren't necessarily passionate about. Moses, told God face to face, I'm not the right guy for this job. I can't even talk without stuttering.
Yeah.
Basically, it's paraphrased.
Yeah.
So,
but you see award ceremonies where people are like, and I've seen graduation speeches at high school and college graduations. Well, follow your passions, be true to your heart, work hard, and things will line up. And sometimes Providence, that's not the case.
No, it's not.
Providence says, do all that, and you're going to fail still because you really should be doing something else.
Well, I mean, how many people are there in the world that are very talented? I remember watching the George Strait country music ceremony where they gave him I think it's the Decade Award. I don't know what it's called. I can't remember, but they have, so George Strait's over here with his wife, and all of these country singers are tributing these songs to George, and this whole thing's about celebrating George Strait. And you remember that song, Just Give It Away? Mm-hmm. Well, the actual guy that wrote that song came on stage and performed the song for George, and did he's amazingly talented, but he's not a George Strait. Yeah. You see, so here's the country music. All of it really is all filled with very talented people who never got the limelight. They never got that moment, but they're still talented. And they may be making good money and whatnot. But I'm just saying, they followed their passion, they followed their dream, but they're not as successful as a George Strait. As a matter of fact, the guy was saying that he didn't even think George Strait liked him the first time they met,
Yeah.
He still doesn't know if they do. But he sang
Made
that
it more
song.
awkward probably after that.
Yeah, it does. But he sang that song, Just Give It Away, like it was really good. And you're like, man, this guy's got talent, right?
Yeah, I want that guy. Yeah.
Right, but so you're right. I mean, just because you've got talent or you've got this dream doesn't mean you're going to make it big.
A quick story about how somebody gave advice about saying don't follow your passions, but take your passions with you. It's my father-in-law, and my wife shares a story, and we're dating. She's a music major at Tarleton State University. My father-in-law says, you should consider math and engineering. You're really good at that, and music doesn't pay the bills. And he goes, but you can play at the church and stuff, and that's what she's done over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And she took that advice, thank goodness, because we would be married now and she'd be playing the piano somewhere, and we'd be not living the life we're living. So,
Well, you're saying you married a sugar mama.
I married a sugar mama. I married up. She's a great woman.
That's wonderful.
And she listens. I think that's why, a person that listens is a lot easier to live with than
So
a
you're
person.
saying she's a submissive sugar mama?
She.
Whoa.
I don't know.
I don't even think that's politically correct anymore.
Yes, no.
Don't answer that question. We're going to get email after email from this episode. Did you just say submissive on air?
Yeah. So, but she listened to her father, and she found out that she loved engineering aspects, and she could do things. And then at retirement parties and going away parties at TxDOT, she always writes a song and sings it and performs it to the people leaving.
Isn't that
and
cool?
she always takes funny stories from the work environment that they did, little mishaps and things, and puts it in and puts it on the retirement song. And now it's a tradition where people say, "Hey, Sarah, so and so's leaving. We need a song."
That is cool.
So that's a great example of. And,
Yes.
and now that I got two youngins, I'm thinking the same thing. How can I mold their passions and not have the world tell them too much hoopla that they get confused? Because that brought confusion to me.
For sure. And in public school, it's really unclear, in my opinion, because, when I was going to school, it was you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be a teacher, but they never told me about anything outside of that, being in sales or, being in ministry. None of these things were options, really. And, it's a lot of times school is really built around these sporting events, and, playing the football or the basketball or the baseball or whatever, track.
Yeah.
And
I thought I was going to be pro basketball player. I played basketball through high school.
what kid doesn't grow up playing sports thinking that they're going to have this dream of being a Michael Jordan someday or a Tiger Woods or whatever? But we really can put the emphasis in the wrong place.
Yeah, and band,
Yeah, for sure.
But there can only be one Kenny G because really, how much saxophone music can we live with? I can only handle so much musical instrument type stuff, solo things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's good, though.
he is good. Holiday times and stuff.
On a side note, I went to a Pentecostal church one time, and the pastor played saxophone, and he could blow Kenny G out of the water.
I've been to a few Pentecostal churches where they bring the horns in.
I'm telling you, it was like nothing I'd ever heard.
Yeah.
I looked at my wife and said, "Isn't this supposed to be about God?" It was that good.
I'm kind of enjoying this. I might
seriously.
put some money in the offering
No
plate.
doubt. Did we have to pay for this?
And then the preacher started preaching it, blew it, totally ruined the atmosphere.
That's funny. You say that, but I can still remember this day what he preached about. That was
Yeah.
many years ago. Anyway, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Oh, so he didn't do that.
It wasn't the best, but yeah.
But then again, sometimes it does work out. I remember I shared earlier this morning about how I thought I needed to put in a barbershop in my cabinet shop. Now, people thought that was odd,
Super weird idea.
super weird, but and I took my passions of wanting to have a small town barbershop, and it worked out. But it kind of felt like a spur of the moment decision, but it was something I had thought about for years.
Yeah.
And I call them micro decisions or little small decisions I've made over the years that this would be good, this would be good, this would be good. And it wasn't until my wife said she was pregnant with our first child, I thought, I better take care of this before the baby comes. And that was the catalyst that made me make that decision. But it was the passion that kind of made me think about that. I think our passions lead us to our ponderings, what we ponder. And so that I think can also slowly build up
Yeah.
this information in our mind, this filing cabinet, and then all of a sudden some people just flip like a switch and make a decision, but really they've been storing this information for a long time.
And it has to do with risks. You know, some people are risk takers, other people aren't. Not everybody. So when when teachers are maybe I hate to single out teachers because they always get a bad rap for all the world's problems, but when you say everybody follow your passion, not everybody should. Some people should,
Yeah.
but not everybody should. There are people in this world who, you know, do really necessary jobs, and they're not the best or coolest job in the world, but they're vital. They pay money, and they need to be done.
Yeah. One of those jobs I think right away is teaching. If
Yeah.
any of my kids said, I want to be a teacher right now,
No way.
I would try to discourage that because I
Yeah.
see the environment, I see the lack of pay,
Lack of respect.
the lack of respect, all of these things.
Sure.
But we vitally need good teachers.
Don't we?
So it's kind of like I don't want to disrespect the occupation. I have the ultimate respect for it.
Sure.
Same thing for police officers right now. That's
Oh my
a very
gosh.
tough job.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I mean, and you know, it is difficult because, you know, my grandfather, he went to work for Edison Electric when he was in his early 20s. I think it was after he got out of the Navy, and a friend of his said, "Hey, you should come work over here." He went to work, worked really good, saw some openings, decided he was going to take a chance, put his name in the hat, and he got the job, relocated, and then he worked for Edison for 35, 40 years. When he retired, I mean, I can't imagine as a kid, he was like growing up on the farm thinking, I'm going to work for an electric company my whole life.
Yeah.
He made more money in retirement than he made when he worked there. The benefits were out of this world. Every medical expense is paid.
Yeah.
And the guy's like 86 by now.
Mm-hmm.
He's been retired for half of his life
That's amazing.
and just living it up, just loving life.
Yeah.
Owns a nice house on a lake, you know.
Blessed.
Yeah. And it's because, I mean, I don't know if he didn't follow his path, he did or didn't, but surely he wasn't thinking, I'm going to be work for an electric company. That's what
I was kind of a different story. I made a list of everything I wanted to do. I've accomplished most of everything on that list,
that's cool.
which it was only 6 things. So it wasn't like
Less impressive.
less impressive, and it wasn't that. But funny, my bar was so low. In some funny ways, I met it, and it was like, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And so now I find myself thinking of new things to do.
Sure.
And I was one of the guys who's like followed my passions. I did what I did. It worked out, and I've been blessed. But I realized at the same token, there was a lot of hard work in it. It wasn't just this chance thing.
Mm-hmm.
There was sacrifice, late days working. There was times I didn't make money.
Mm-hmm.
So it isn't always easy following your passions, and sometimes you have to bring it along with you, like my dad and your grandfather.
Or
did.
wait. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. And sometimes things just change.
yeah,
But
that's true.
you look at your kids, and everybody's kids are so different, especially from one to another. Like my 2 boys are drastically different. And so one's a rule keeper and one's a rule breaker. One thinks inside the box. The other one is, I can already tell he's an outside the box thinker. You know, the way he plays with his Legos isn't traditional Lego playing.
Mm-hmm.
And so their passions and their desires, you know, how are we going to mold that into their adulthood?
Yeah,
And it's I think going to be different with each one.
it is.
I don't know, for the one who's a rule keeper, I might have to say, yeah, you need to follow your passions.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't, he'll be a dull boy, you
Yeah.
know, or he needs to have some adventure. But
Yeah.
he might not want to take risk, but I'm going to want him to take
take
some
risks.
risk. The other one who's taking risk all the time, who's also driving up my hospital bill,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I'm
Tell
going to
him
say,
to settle down a
quit
little bit.
that.
Yeah.
Stop
Yeah.
it.
You're not meant for the
You're not
for the
meant
circus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'm the same way. You know, the boys, you know, they desire to do different things. You know, maybe it's a sport or something. They think they're going to be an NFL star or whatever. And, you know, you don't want to crush somebody's dreams.
mhm.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to go into the Air Force. I wanted to be a firefighter. I wanted it all, you know. And somewhere along the way, a lot of those dreams did get squashed by an adult. And I think, oh, that's really mean. But, you know, I'm not sad about the way my life has turned out.
No.
So did I miss a huge opportunity there?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
Yeah. And the naivety of a child is that, you know, I'm going to be this or that. Can it really happen? I don't know. My little boy, he was talking about what he wanted to buy. He wants a 4-wheeler real bad, but I'm pretty sure he'll get himself hurt. So I refuse to fund it.
Yeah.
But he's telling me how he's going to fund it. He thinks he can sell a few toys.
And by toys, he means your tractor.
No, he's thinking like his cheap toys and at a garage sale, and he's going to make hundreds of dollars.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And, of course, he's 6 years old, so his value is not correct.
And I think that's another great point. You know, somebody's passionate about being a dirt bike rider. You know, they see a dirt bike show and they're like, I want to get into dirt bikes. And as parents, you know, some parents, obviously, their kids turn out to be career dirt bike riders. But at the same time, you're sort of like, man, this is really dangerous. You know, and then so parents have to make difficult decisions. They have to oftentimes squelch dreams that are, you know, seems harsh.
I was listening to a football game on Friday night while I was working at my house, and a young man had his ACL blown out on his knee. Now, I know this young man, and it makes me wonder, as a parent, are they going to let him play anymore?
Yeah.
Because, you know, your kids get hurt. That might be their passion. But you might need to say, hey, I kind of want you to not have to have knee replacement at 40.
You know, and this is such a relevant thing, you know, because parents are, you know, that wanting to empower their kids to do everything that they want to do. But some things are just really bad ideas, you know. And I'm not saying football is one of those, but as a matter of fact, I was at a football game last week, and was little kid, you know, and a lot of times 7th and 8th grade football. Not all kids are created equal.
No.
They're not all the same size.
Yeah, some are 3 foot and some are 6.
Exactly. And the 6-footer picked up the 3-footer from the other team and body slammed him on his head. And you can see his neck, you know, jar and his whole body flop over. And I'm like, holy crap, this kid could have just died or been paralyzed. And he wasn't, but it's scary.
Yeah.
And you think,
Don't you wish sometimes you could just have a BB gun so you can pop people in the butt when they do something stupid?
Well, I tell you, the fans on the other side, the other team, they were none too happy.
Oh, really?
Oh, man, they were screaming. And if I would have been the parent of that little boy who just got, you know, WWF'd or whatever it is,
Yeah.
I would have come out of those stands. There's no way.
Yeah.
Like, that is completely unnecessary. And there's testosterone in these boys. You know, they're trying to impress everybody, you know, the fans and all that. I get it. So I'm not blaming the kid that body slammed him.
No.
But it still is like, what are we doing here? You know, this is supposed to be football. But, you know, NFL's struggling right now because of all this concussion stuff and the brain injury stuff and these helmets. Or they're having to redesign the helmets and just trying to save it because the you know, the logistics of being a football player is not great for your long-term health.
I know, but they make millions, so they can pay somebody to take care of themselves. I think now that I'm just kind of like, at that level, you're like, okay, well, you're getting compensated for long-term health.
They're all not making millions. Some of them are only making, you know, $70,000 a year.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think so.
Yes.
That guy's not struggling with concussions, trust me.
He's a bench warmer.
He's a bench warmer.
Water boy.
Water boy.
No, yeah, I mean, they all die at 50. It's no big deal because they made $1 million, right?
Yeah. Well, they chose this, as Trump would say. He chose this job. He knew what he signed up for.
It's like Jack Reacher. Remember, you wanted this. Yeah, it's tough, you know, because parents always have to make these decisions, and getting your kids not to follow their passion, to follow their passion, you know,
it's a balancing act.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Doing the right thing, I think, pays off in the long run. But surely in the short run, it's it's tough.
Oh, it's very tough. And I think that kids are faced with all sorts of ideas, and it's not like they grow up on a farm where all they know is cows and horses and,
The good old days. Those parents had it so easy. But they got tired of seeing each other.
Oh, my goodness.
I gotta go into town. That's why my daddy always had to go into town and get cow cubes. I gotta go into town, honey. I'll be back. He's like, I'm back.
Gotta get out of here.
Gotta get out of here.
Yeah,
Can you imagine the wagon ride going across the frontier with your kiddos in the back?
Unreal.
They couldn't say, if you don't shut up, I'm turning this wagon around and we're going back home.
Oh, kids acted different back then because they had,
Life and death kind of situated there.
Well, and it's just the discipline. But anyway, can you imagine? So that's one side of it, just the comfort level and the extreme weather and all of the conditions of the road. But then to think about the Native Americans and all the rumors, that you'd probably heard before you started out, like, don't go here because these people are going to hurt you.
Scalp you and stuff.
Man, that would be terrifying.
Yeah.
Talking about follow your passion.
Yeah.
California's.
There are some guys, Gold Rush or just the frontier. Those guys.
They took off across the country with their kids in tow. Scary stuff.
Everything they owned in a wagon.
Yeah.
And if those two horses died pulling that wagon.
Welcome to your new home. Hope you like the scenery.
I really wasn't a fan of flat Kansas.
Yeah, seriously.
Start cutting some sod, boys.
That's how people ended up in Kansas. The horses broke down. Yeah.
So
that's funny. But it was passion, following your passion. Yeah, and there are times, I think, too, that individuals in your life can say, just like your father-in-law did to your wife, hey, have you thought about this? This would be something that, because parents can oftentimes see what their kids are good at and what they're not.
Yeah.
So, there are people in the world who take a special moment in time and they plant a seed in somebody, and because they did, now they're amazing at whatever.
Yeah, changed the course of my life. So, thank you, father-in-law.
Yeah.
And I hope to be that type of parent and friend.
Sure.
To rein in or ramp up people's passions.
Get them on the right course.
So, I've heard some doozies in the barbershop. I'm thinking, why were you doing that? And then others, I was thinking, you should have done that.
Yeah, and that's the truth. And you do see people who miss their opportunity.
So, I want to be that guy to hopefully spur or stop. So, passion is important. We should take it with us.
We should.
Thanks for listening to The Barbershop.
Yeah, thanks for listening.